meeting agenda for June 15, 2020 at 6 o'clock p.m., which we're a little late getting started.
Mayor, there's a specific verbiage that has to be read aloud, which was sent over to me by Jim Rhodes. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to read this aloud.
Okay, go ahead.
We are conducting this meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees in accordance with the recently amended provisions of the Open Meetings Act and the Governor's Disaster Proclamation reissued May 29th, 2020, and the Governor's Executive Order 38 regarding phase 3 reopening. In recognition of Section 12 of the Disaster Proclamation, which provides that meetings attended by more than 10 persons are not feasible, and the social distancing requirements, I have determined that an in-person meeting is not practical nor prudent at this time. We are therefore conducting this meeting by audio conference.
Okay, so I already said it was June 15, 2020. Now, I don't know, 6:15 p.m. roughly?
It is 6:09.
6:09?
Mr. Mayor, can you hear me now?
Yes, I could hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, I'm logged in then. Thank you.
Okay. So,
Roll call.
roll call, please.
Trustee Zalick,
Yes, here.
Trustee LaRocca,
Here.
Trustee Geezer,
Here.
Trustee Frizzoloni,
Here.
Trustee Schwarzy,
Here.
Trustee McCarthy,
Here.
Mayor Savarino.
Here. Pledge allegiance. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Pledge allegiance. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we're ready.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I pledge allegiance
Pledge
To
allegiance
the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For
for
which
which
it
stands
stands
one nation
under
under
God,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of our June 1st, 2020 Village Board meeting?
So moved, Trustee McCarthy?
Second.
Moved by Trustee McCarthy, seconded by Trustee LaRocca. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick,
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca,
Aye.
Trustee Geezer,
Aye.
Trustee Frizzoloni,
Aye.
Trustee Schwarzy,
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Under listening posts, we allow 3 minutes for listening posts. Tia, do we have anything that has to be gone over?
Yes, we do. Before we move on to that, I just want to adjust our screen. And for our attendees in the audience, if you are using a computer and you'd like to ask a question during listening post, you have 2 options. You can submit your question to the board via chat, or you can raise your hand and the meeting moderator will grant you the ability to speak. However, your microphone will be muted. It will be your responsibility to unmute your microphone to ask your question. If you are going to use this feature, please be certain your microphone is working prior to raising your hand. You can check your microphone settings in the bottom left corner. In addition, if you are calling in on a line and you would like to raise your hand that way, you can press *9. Now that we've explained that process, we have also received some public comments that were submitted ahead of the board meeting via our public comment form on our website, and I will read those comments word for word. Devin Asberger, defund the police. Mayor and Village Board, I would like to start off by saying thank you for listening to these public comments here today, and for those of you who have been responsive to my emails, an even bigger thank you. I know I write a lot, so thank you for getting back to me. In my conversations with many on the village board, it has become clear to me that reform is something that I think we can all agree on. Body cams are something that have been discussed in past meetings, and I'm hoping that is something that can be instituted ASAP. I've also heard many on the board claim that the Carroll Stream Police are good guys who may not be perfect but treat everyone equally. And I do believe that. I know that these are officers going out there every single day trying to do the best they can in a job that asks a lot of them. But perhaps this is the real issue. We are sending them into a job that asks too much of them, that asks them to be too many things. The Elgin Police Department has been heralded for a long time as a prime example of what community policing and conscientious policing can look like. Their ROPE program, ROPE, where officers live within the community, was viewed as a more compassionate approach to protecting the city, coupled with increased police training and regular checkups. It's been a model for what police reform could look like for the rest of the country. Much like Carroll Stream, they had a very long run without a police misconduct incident. It was 20 years until 2018 when Elgin police shot and killed Cynthia Clements, a Black woman who was suffering from mental illness. She was talking to herself and had a knife in the car. The officers involved talked about de-escalation tactics, how they could use tasers or rubber bullets to ensure they wouldn't be harmed by the knife that the 90-pound woman was holding. They spent close to 15 minutes or so discussing these tactics. But when Cynthia set her vehicle on fire and exited with the knife, fear took over the officers. They defaulted to instinct and shot her, not with a taser or rubber bullets, but with a real gun, and she died. There were 2 officers there who felt they couldn't non-lethally overtake a 90-pound confused woman with a steak knife, so they shot her. This happened one town over. This happened in our own backyard. The aspect of race in this situation is uncomfortable but cannot be ignored or played off as incidental. I say all this to show that even with the best of intentions and the most stringent training and reforms, that these kinds of incidents are not a matter of if, but when. So while Carroll Stream's streak of having no police misconduct is impressive, we must do more to ensure that we do not become the next national news story. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So what are the true roots causes of the problems facing police in Carroll Stream? I urge the board to look at these issues and try and think about how they can possibly be solved without policing. I also concur with Meggy Hernandez Zayas that the police department should be more transparent through the Carroll Stream website, as well as make it more accessible and comprehensible to file a police misconduct report through the website to hold the department more accountable. Thank you for your time and listening to the community and myself. Devin Asperger. Next comment. Stephanie Beagle. Official Village Joint Statement regarding the murder of George Floyd. To the Mayor and Village Board, I want to start off with a thank you to the trustees that have been taking the time not just talk, but truly listen and engage in a positive manner with the community in recent weeks. With that said, I know that your interactions and statements have not been the official village statement, and I'm here because I feel the need to address the official statement that Mayor Savarino, Village Manager Bob Meller, and Police Director Stephen Schmidt released on Friday, June 12. While your statements say that you would continue to address injustice and want our help in opening dialogue, the actions of the police department and elected officials, especially the mayor, appear to contradict that. I see that our police department and our mayor have not even bothered to post the statement that took over 2 weeks to even make. In addition, the mayor has instead stated that the riots are worse than the murder of an innocent Black man, and has also stated that he will not be responding to his constituents until we start showing respect for each other, while at the same time having a long history of making racist, sexist, and homophobic comments, and currently showing absolutely no respect to citizens that have reached out with concerns by utterly dismissing or ignoring them, which is part of what has brought us as a country here to where we are today. By ignoring the pain and the hurt of so many people for so long, instead of discussing it and working for real sustainable change? While I appreciate the strong statements that many of our trustees have made regarding the murder of George Floyd and others at the hand of the police, they, along with this official statement, do little to address actual actions towards reform, with the exception of additional training. Silence is no longer an option. Sweeping the issues under the rug is no longer an option. Words need to be followed up with actions, and that's what I'm not seeing here. There are so many practices, procedures, and reforms being talked about now, and while not everyone can be feasible for our village, I cannot believe that there was not one you could be interested in exploring. I've seen many statements from different towns, cities, and villages that are outlining specific, concrete actions. So why aren't we? More money for training is nothing more than a Band-Aid and just about the lowest hanging fruit you could have gone after. And I have to say, I've seen that our current policies may be not working as great as you think they are. And I'm not sure that additional training is all that is needed to address the issue. In addition to training, you claim that to thoroughly vet officers before hire in regard to abusive tendencies or history and racist, xenophobic, homophobic, or other discriminatory views. Again, I don't think your screening is working as well as you think it is. I know that quite a few residents, including myself, were subject to homophobic and anti-LGBTQ remarks by a Carroll Stream detective during our tour of the new village building. If one of your detectives thought that was acceptable to say to a room full of people he most likely did not personally know, do you think that your training and vetting are working? Or do you think that maybe more is needed? Because I think more is needed. We listen as Carroll Stream is held up as a beacon of innovation in regard to DUI prevention and control. We jumped at the opportunity to test new roadside THC tests just months ago. We seem to want to be at the forefront of innovations that will bring in revenue, but why do you seem to be so reluctant to be at the forefront of looking for new ways to do things in regard to policing and improving relations in our community? I appreciate your time in listening to this, and it is my plea that you no longer sit idly by, but instead condemn the actions in your own community and our country, and then work to actively change and lead and truly make Carroll Stream a great place for all to live. Thank you, Stephanie Beagle. Next comment. Meggie Hernandez Zayas, Village Transparency. Mayor and Village Board, I first want to thank all of the Village Board trustees who have been taking the time to truly listen to community members and take their concerns seriously. I also want to thank the Carroll Stream Police Department for their role in our community. I've always appreciated and enjoyed each and every conversation I've had with officers. I had to rewrite my comment for tonight because I was so disappointed in the statement that was released by the village on Friday. I understand the statement said you're open to ideas, but it was disappointing to see that the only thing the village is doing right now is investing $200,000 in additional police training. We already spend roughly $200,000 on police training, and that already includes CIT, racial bias, victim sensitivity, etc. Every time there is an issue with police brutality or a Black person is murdered by police, the first response that towns, cities, and villages make is to increase training, and this response has been happening for decades. Clearly, it doesn't work because it does not address the cultural issue within a police department, which leads to the issue of racism and brutality. There are so many new ideas and policies that are being talked about all across the nation, and the best our village could come up with is throwing $200,000 at training. Out of all of the policies and best practices that are being discussed for well over 2 weeks, I'm surprised not a single one caught the eye of our village and was worth exploring or specifically mentioning in the village statement. This solution feels a lot like a political move to appease those of us who are unhappy with the way the village, particularly the mayor, has handled the situation thus far. Carroll Stream continues to say they are leaders and innovators in technology and policy. A great example of this is Carroll Stream obtained a grant and was testing a brand new roadside THC test several months ago. I want to see the village use the same type of new and innovative strategies when examining how we can change how we police. I want to see our village spend the same amount of time and energy into testing new ideas as they did with the roadside THC test. There has been a long history in our country of Black people being murdered and brutalized by law enforcement, and the village has proposed no new innovative policy, only a funding Band-Aid, which will probably disappear in the future, as most of these increased training initiatives do. One change I want to see is the police policy manual available online so that all residents can access this manual for free, just like they can access all of our village ordinances and policies. Any portion of this policy that can be obtained through a FOIA request should be available online. It is imperative that policies of any part of our local government are readily accessible to citizens to promote transparency. Police officers wield vast amounts of power over the civilian population. They have the power to change a life in a split second and carry a firearm. Community members need to be able to access what police are and are not allowed to do. People can FOIA information, but many people do not know or understand how to submit Freedom of Information Act requests. Furthermore, any costs associated with requesting hundreds of pages can make a document inaccessible to certain demographics. Carol Stream has a great website that is very user-friendly. It is a great platform for adding this information. I thank you for your time and attention, and I hope to see Carol Stream decide to lead in new and innovative practices. Maggie Hernandez Zayas. Next comment. Village Board meeting. Arcima Area, call to action regarding Black Lives Matter. For the past decade, the Black Lives Matter movement has begun to take the spotlight in national and global news. The tragedies of targeted police brutality and the extrajudicial murder of Black people like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless others has taken our nation and world by storm. This is why I, Arcima Area, along with other high school and college students from around the area, have begun Young Emerging Activists, YEA. We are working with other grassroots organizations to create an event humanizing and honoring the Black Lives Matter victims. The event entitled Lift Every Voice, We Remember, is scheduled for June 19th, 2020 at Camera Park from 7 to 9 p.m. The event will have a candlelight vigil, speakers, and a musical performance to pay tribute to the countless lives lost in the Black community. This will be a night of remembrance, unity, and peace. We hope those who are pained and angered can use this event as a way to feel unified with their community and allies. I ask the village board and mayor that you please accept my invitation to our vigil. Now is the time for government officials like you to speak out about your commitment to anti-racism, and attending this vigil is a way for you to demonstrate your commitment to diversity, inclusion, and allyship. The village can demonstrate support for your Black constituents by attending this vigil. Will show your allegiance to a community in pain. Black people and their allies continually protest to say that Black lives matter because they matter to us, and it is impossible for all lives to matter until Black lives do. Please show us the lost lives of Black Americans also matter to you. Please take this invitation as a way to a stand against the unjust killing of our fellow Americans. If you cannot attend, I urge you to send a representative to your place. Thank you. Next comment. Annalise Garcia, Juneteenth Vigil. I am a member of Young Emerging Activists, or YEA. We are hosting a community vigil on Juneteenth, June 19th, in honor of the endless lives taken by police brutality. At the least, we ask that Mayor Frank Savarino make an appearance at the event, and that this board meeting announces the event as an opportunity for community outreach and solidarity. The event will be hosted at Camera Park in Glendale Heights at 7 p.m. until approximately 9 p.m. Please show support from all community members. That is the last of our pre-submitted public comments that we received through our public comment form on the website. I'm just going to check and see if we have any attendees that have raised their hand. It does not appear that any attendees raised their hands to make any additional public comments. At this time, we can move forward from our listening post segment.
Thank you, Tia, for a job well done. Under public hearings, we have a public hearing for an amendment of an annexation agreement for the CMC Building Group LLC property at 27 West North Avenue. This public hearing was originally noticed for the May 18, 2020 Village Board meeting to receive comments on a proposed amendment to the annexation agreement for the CMC Building Group LLC property at 27 West 333 North Avenue as an amendment was not ready for action by the Village Board at the May 18, 2020 meeting. The public hearing was continued to June 15, 2020. Village Board meeting, no progress has been made on the development of this amendment, so staff recommends that the Village Board close the public hearing should an amendment be developed for action by the Village Board in the future. A new notice of public hearing will be published. So is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved, trustee McCarthy.
Seconded, trustee Geezer.
Moved by McCarthy, seconded by Geezer. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick,
Aye.
trustee LaRocca,
Aye.
trustee Geezer,
Aye.
trustee Frusaloni,
Aye.
trustee Shorzy,
Aye.
trustee McCarthy.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Trustee LaRocca makes a motion to close the public hearing.
Trustee,
Second.
Moved by trustee LaRocca, seconded by trustee Zalick. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick,
Aye.
trustee LaRocca,
Aye.
trustee Geezer,
Aye.
trustee Frusaloni,
aye.
trustee Shorzy,
Aye.
trustee McCarthy.
Is there a motion to establish a consent agenda?
Trustee Geezer, aye. Or makes the motion.
Trustee Frusaloni seconds.
Moved by trustee Geezer, seconded by trustee Frusaloni. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick,
Aye.
trustee LaRocca,
Aye.
trustee Geezer,
Aye.
trustee Frusaloni,
Aye.
trustee Shorzy,
Aye.
trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read what is on the consent agenda?
Certainly. Under staff reports and recommendations, number 1, motion to purchase large water meters and supplies from Core and Main in an amount not to exceed $45,000.
Yes.
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 Number 2, recommendation for purchase of a Ford F-550 dump truck from Joe Cotton Ford in the amount of $40,998.79.
Yes.
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 Number 3, recommendation for awarding a contract for a truck upfitting to Henderson Products, Inc. under Sourcewell contract number 080818-HPI in the amount of $51,518.
Yes.
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 Under ordinances, we have an ordinance amending the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances, Chapter 13, and adopting a sewer use and pretreatment ordinance.
Yes.
Yes.
That's ordinance number 2020-6-18. Under resolutions, we have a resolution approving the local limits evaluation 2016.
Yes.
Yes.
That's resolution 3831. Number 2, resolution approving an enforcement response plan in relation to the village's sewer use and pretreatment ordinance.
Yes.
Yes.
That's resolution 3832. Number 3, resolution declaring surplus property owned by the village of Carroll Stream.
Yes.
Yes.
That is resolution 3833. Under payments of bills, number 1, regular bills, June 2, 2020 through June 15, 2020.
Yes.
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 Number 2, addendum warrants, May 27, 2020 through June 15, 2020.
Yes.
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 Under report of officers, we have the treasurer's report, revenue, expenditure statements, and balance sheet for the month ended May 31, 2020.
Received.
Received.
Is there a motion to put those items on the consent agenda?
So moved, trustee McCarthy.
Second, Shorzy.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Schwarzy. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee Schwarzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
There a motion to approve those items by unanimous vote?
Trustee Trustee Frusaloni makes the motion. Sorry.
Trustee Zalick, second, please.
Moved
Trustee
by,
LaRocca seconds.
moved by trustee Frusaloni, seconded by trustee LaRocca. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee LaRocca.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee Schwarzy.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Wow. That was interesting. We go to report of officers. Trustee LaRocca.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank all of the residents that had made public comments. I appreciate your involvement with what's going on in the village. A couple items that I just want to mention. I truly believe that the training that we do in Carroll Stream with the Carroll Stream Police Department is working. As might have been suggested that it's not. I truly believe our officers are the best, and they take their job seriously, and they go out and do what's in the best interest of the village of Carroll Stream, which is a part of their oath, which is a part of all of our oaths. An oath that every trustee, police officer has taken at their point of election or appointment, and they do their job to the best of their ability, which is what's stated in the oath. I trust our police department to do the right thing all the time. If I didn't do that, then I would speak my mind. But clearly, all of our police officers do their job to the best of their ability. I don't believe that that anything will disappear in the future. The training will continue because training is good, and training is a learning lesson for everybody, and not only our police officers, but the village trustees and the village mayor and the village staff. Everybody is on board to do what's in the best interest of the village of Carroll Stream and its residents, period. And I just want to make that statement because that's what I truly believe. And that is my opinion, and I hold it near and dear to my heart about this village. This is a great village, and we have a great staff, and we have a great mayor, and we have great trustees. And I don't believe that anybody should take anything away from the job that all of our trustees are doing and all of what our mayor is doing, because it's evident that we all care what's going on in this village. Aside from all of that, I wish everybody health and happiness. I hope everybody continues to social distance as we reopen. Stay safe and stay healthy. That ends my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, trustee LaRocca, and thank you for that continued support. Trustee Giesser.
Thank you very much. I too would like to thank the residents for sharing their thoughts and ideas, all their experiences tonight at the meeting, as well as via email, via phone calls, as we see people in the street. I know I'll continue to listen, and I believe that the rest of the board will as well. Also, thanks to all the peaceful protests that have been going on. That's the way to do it. Peaceful protests. As I mentioned last time, there are differences. Protesters are not the same as rioters and looters. So I think peaceful protesting is something we all support. I'm encouraged by all of them, and I will try to attend the meeting Friday night. I may be out of town, but I will try to attend the meeting Friday night. I did want to mention something I discussed with our HR director, Carol Rebholz, during the week or last week. I don't know if everyone knows this, but during most police departments throughout Illinois and throughout the country, they charge a fee to apply. And we just went through a whole application process, so it won't be for a couple of years before we start doing more having people apply for police jobs. But something we might want to consider to expand the application pool and to not weed out people who might be applying to multiple jurisdictions, so they just can't afford it. Maybe people who don't quite have the money to pay for it. It might be something for us to consider not charging for the application fee. I don't know why it was ever started. I have no idea, but it's something that happens throughout the country and definitely throughout DuPage County in the Chicago area. So it might be something we have a discussion as trustees, as a village board, and as staff members about as a way to encourage additional applicants for the police department once we're doing that again. So a couple other things I'd like to say is that the July 4th is coming up, and that the Village of Carroll Stream, we're going to be doing a holiday decorating contest, very similar to what we've done in the past with our Halloween and our Christmas decorating contest. We would like you to decorate the outside of your residence or businesses. We're including businesses this time around. So send your address to decorating contest at carrollstream.org, and by Monday, June 29th at 5 p.m. And a team of judges, just like we do for the other contests, will go out and take a look at your house, and we will have 3 winners in the residential, 3 winners in the business. Mayor Savarino was kind enough. He is providing gift cards to the top winners in each category. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for doing that. And I think we're going to have some fun with this. And I think this will, since we're not having the big 4th of July festivities we usually have, this will be a way for us to show our 4th of July spirit, show our patriotism, and brighten up the community a little bit. I want to wish everybody all the dads out there, a happy Father's Day coming up on Sunday. And hope everybody has a terrific week. That's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Geiser, and thank you for spearheading the decorating 4th of July.
Certainly.
Trustee Suarez.
Thank you, sir. First, I want to offer condolences to the families of David Aguilar and George Acosta, a couple of Carroll Stream young high school students at Wheaton North who passed away in a car accident on Friday. I know some of you may know their families. It's a really sad situation. I was on duty at the firehouse that morning. They do have some GoFundMe pages out there, so please look those up and help their families if you can. I also want to thank everyone in our community who's been following the governor's COVID orders during this phase 3. I just read on ABC News that Illinois has had the biggest percentage decrease in the entire U.S. And while many states their COVID patients are increasing, we will be looking to enter phase 4 by the end of the month. So keep up the great work there. I wanted to talk a little bit about, first thank those in attendance today, and thank some of those residents who offered comments. First thing I do want to say is, this is a wonderful, wonderful town we live in. We all say it, we all feel it, and it's because everybody on this board, including the mayor, cares about everybody in this town. We care about our citizens, we care what happens here. So I just want to make that loud and clear. That's what makes this town as wonderful as it is, along with all the wonderful people that we have living here. So just to address a couple of the comments that were brought up in the listening post. I know we brought up, we spoke about body cameras last meeting. Bob or Steve, is it possible to have staff put together some more info? You know, I know we've looked at it in the past, but we haven't really talked about it in a while until recently. Is there something the staff could put together, the logistics involved of it, the pricing, to see if we can start maybe talking about this sooner than later? Body cameras obviously not only serve as a tool to protect the public, but they also protect our police force as well. So I think if we could start maybe delving into that a little bit more, our questions could be answered quicker. And Bob, I'll let you answer that when Frank gets to your report, because I have a few other things I want to comment on. So, I guess to go along with those the comments we heard in the listening post, one resident mentioned putting the police policy manual online. Someone else talked about a rope program in Elgin. Maybe that's something you could bring to our attention, the information on how some of that stuff, if it's doable or how it works. So with regards to the new a young emerging activist group, Arsima Araya invited us to the Juneteenth vigil on Friday. I really, really wanted to be there. Unfortunately, my father-in-law is in hospice, and I'll be driving my wife up to Milwaukee to spend the weekend with him. But I offer you my support, to you and your group, and I hope it goes real successful. Please reach out again to me in the future. With that being said, I want to thank all the all the protesters and activists who have supported the Black Lives Matter movement with their peaceful protests. Thank you to all who have reached out to me either by email, phone calls, texts, or whatever. This dialogue is definitely needed. I promise to keep listening and do what I can to help change the narrative of race relations in our country. I want to mention shopping Carol Stream, but I'm going to end my report on this. My 23-year-old daughter had a very insightful and heartfelt post that she posted on Facebook, and I'm just going to read the last couple of sentences because I think it is relevant. Although I have learned a plethora about the struggle of African American lives and their ongoing pain for equal rights, I will never understand. But I will make it my mission every day to help make progress and change. Here ends my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Suarez. Trustee Zalick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, I want to recognize our clerk, Laura Zarnicki, who is resigning to start a new chapter in her life. And so I just want to thank her for the many years of service and commitment that she has given on the board. I also, people are very passionate over these current events stemming from the horrible and preventable murder of George Floyd. I can't even imagine the hurt that minorities feel being discriminated against because of the color of their skin and mistreated by police. People are hurt and want military bases, renamed and statues to be removed or taken down. But I don't know, to hide our country's history might not be the answer. Instead, maybe recognizing our history and using it as a learning tool to better society. In my time off here at home, I want to see different views. So I've watched many hours of MSNBC and Fox and CNN to try to get different views as to what's going on in the world. One of them is defunding the police. I don't know, you ask individuals and you'll get different responses as to what defunding the police means. Does it mean take the DARE out of schools? I know that people want the police officers out of schools. Is that DARE? Take money away from the police budget, or even take police off the street. I guess having been a police officer, when reducing units on the street, whether it be for service calls or emergency calls or batteries, domestic batteries, I don't know if that's really a good idea to reduce the units, because the response time increases, and that could lead to more injuries and more people getting hurt. In my opinion, it'd be wrong to get rid of the police. Officers definitely need to police officers. Supervisors need to police their officers, and residents need to police the police. If behavior is noticed or observed, say something. And it's the job of the police department to investigate and act on what they have found. I read on Facebook, nobody hates bad cops more than good cops, and that is so true. For 26 years, I've been trying to do everything I can to treat people how I want my mom or my sister or and to see officers just getting landblasted because of a few irresponsible, disrespectful, criminal police officers out there is truly sad. I know for a fact, our policies and our training work. I mean, we train every month. I'd say multiple times a month we train to be the best we can be. So at this time, I would like Director Schmidt, can you touch base on all the options residents and citizens have to voice their complaint against the police? I know that in the public response, some people said we should make it easier. And I know there are a bunch of ways that citizens can voice their complaints. Can you touch on that a sec?
Right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, complaints include any allegations of misconduct or improper job performance that, if true, would constitute a violation of department policy or a federal, state, or local law, policy, or rule. And citizens can file complaints in any form, including in writing, email, in person, or by telephone. We will take complaints in all of those venues.
Thank you. And finally, I just want to touch base. I know that someone mentioned about our policies and procedures, and I know we recently, well, not recently, but a few years ago, we went from a policy and procedure process to what's called Lexipol, and that's Lexipol. And I believe that's written by a bunch of attorneys for numerous police departments, so we're all on the same page. So, if officers follow those policies and procedures, there shouldn't be an issue. So changing the policy and procedures, I don't see that being a positive thing to fix what's going on in society. So with that, I'll end my report, Mr. Mayor.
Well said, Trustee Zalik. Trustee Maloney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to thank all of our residents that have commented tonight, and all of our residents that have reached out. They've asked questions. They've made comments over the past few weeks. We have a lot to learn from each other. We have a lot of, this is a time really that we should be listening to each other and respecting differences of opinion sometimes where they exist. With that said, we're in very trying times right now. We're all watching what's going on in our country. What makes me very proud is that Carroll Stream is a very progressive town, and we always have been. We hold our staff to the highest level because our residents deserve it. The Carroll Stream Police Department is respected and held in high regard by other police departments. Our officers will not tolerate racism or brutality amongst their fellow officers. They hold each other and themselves to a higher level than any other police department may practice. This is why we get, when we're hiring for new officers, this is why we get hundreds of applications and hundreds of people who test because they want to be part of Carroll Stream, because they know that we are one of the best police departments. They also know that they're going to get the highest level of training available, more than most other departments offer. This is also why our police department has the respect and support of our village board and our residents. I'm not saying that our police department is perfect. I'm not saying that we don't have room for improvement. If you read the Q&A response that we included in our joint statement last Friday, you'll see that we already have strict policies and procedures in place, and Trustee Zalick already alluded to that how they were written, where we developed them from. But we have these in place that where other departments may not have these same policies and procedures in place, and they're just looking at implementing them now, we've already been doing them. So we've already been at the forefront of what other departments may not be doing. We're also very fortunate that we have a fully staffed social services unit that provides so many services and support that other police departments may not have in this area. The first step in looking at the opportunities that we have for improvement really started with the joint statement and the Q&A documents that we put out last Friday. We needed to inventory what we are already doing and how we do it, and then it's our job to educate our residents on what we do and how we do it. The next step, though, is to have open dialogue with our community members. That's where we will develop any needed changes, explore new ideas, explore new initiatives that come out of the open discussions. This is a time that we cannot make quick decisions. Rather, we need to make decisions that come from listening to each other and learning from our community and working in partnership with our police department, our staff, and our elected officials. We need to make sure we are living up to our core values and provide our residents the highest levels of service, respect, inclusion, and the quality of life that they deserve. I know that the Carroll Stream Police Department is the best in the area. I also know that they are committed to continuing to better themselves professionally, to continue to be the model that other police departments follow. This is how we start to end racism and police brutality in areas around us. We continue to be role models in these difficult times. This is how we start to see changes that other towns and cities adopt around us by using us as the model that they hold themselves now to. And this is also how we start to change some of the things in the world around us. Last thing that I want to mention is I just want to say to all the fathers out there, a very happy Father's Day. Thank you to our residents for, again, following all of the COVID restrictions that have been in place. We are making a difference on the war on COVID. So I am very hopeful that in the next week and a half that we'll be able to move to phase 4 also, which will have a tremendous impact on our local businesses and our local economy. With that, Mr. Mayor, I will end my report.
Thank you, Trustee Frizzolani. Trustee McCarthy.
Thank you. First off, of course, the emails and the calls and the messages we've gotten from residents, both current residents and people who even no longer live here. I appreciate it. I appreciate your points of view and your concerns. I do think we have to be careful with the words defund in police. As Trustee Zalick said, it means so many different things to so many different people. And before you call for something like that, I do invite any residents to join our Citizens Police Academy and actually find out, learn what they do, how they do it, and why they do it. I'm not asking this to change your mind. I'm just saying this is just like you want us to have insight into your views. This will give you great insight into how our police departments run, as opposed to just looking at it from the outside. But absolutely, the protesters have been thought-provoking. They've been real people. They've been honest. Some of it's tough listening to, but we all get to learn from it also. So I also want to congratulate the young protesters who are holding their event on Friday. I wish I could make it. I will be out of town, but this is the way that you can also. That's another way for you to be heard, and it's a good job that you guys are getting together and having a peaceful protest. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and to our clerk, Laura Zernicki. Thank you for the years you've put in, and good luck in your future, and hopefully it all works out as you wanted to. You've been an absolute asset to us, and you'll be missed. With that, I'll end my report.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. And now I go to Clerk Sarnicki.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I might be a little long-winded tonight. I kind of have a lot to say, being my last report. So first of all, I just wanted to thank the trustees and the mayor for all of your wonderful words of encouragement I've heard through the past week, and the wishes for success. Tomorrow, for those who don't know, will be my start of my new career path. With the uncertainty of the future due to the pandemic, I found it necessary to have to look for a more stable job. I have not worked since the lockdown has happened, and to tell you quite truthfully, I'm not sure what the future of my profession is going to be. I will be starting a new job tomorrow. I will be an official court reporter for the 19th Judicial Circuit for Lake County. Since I will be working for the state of Illinois, I have had to resign as a clerk effective tomorrow. I am not allowed to be an elected official. I'm greatly saddened by this. I have immensely enjoyed serving Carol Stream. Meeting new people and volunteering for Carol Stream has been amazing in my time here. And I want to thank Mayor Savarino and all the trustees for your support throughout the years, from helping me throughout the election process and your support throughout that, and also for attending all of my DuPage municipal clerks meetings that I have hosted in town. And I wanted to also thank you for your friendship. You will always be my friends regardless where life takes us. That will always be a given. I'd like to say thank you to the staff as well for their friendship and support throughout the years. Village Manager Miller has been by my side from day one to answer any questions I had, and to guide me through the process of learning to be the clerk and taking minutes, reading the agenda. Assisting to the Assistant Village Manager, Messino has been working side by side with me to ensure the minutes are taken down in my absence, and even in my presence as of last meeting. But all the staff has been an extreme pleasure to work with, and I thank you all for your support and friendship. A special thank you goes out to Sherry Craig. Not everyone knows this, but Sherry is who makes me look good in this office. I could not be the clerk if not for Sherry. I am and will always be indebted to her and grateful. So Sherry, I thank you for everything you've done for me and for being the friend that you are. Also, another person behind the scenes that helps out tremendously is Denise Kelke. She's another friend from the office that has always had my back and always makes sure that I shine bright. You've been a wonderful friend, Denise, and will always be a friend, and I thank you. My family. I couldn't have gotten this far without their love and support, and I thank you wholeheartedly for that. Lastly, to thank all the residents who believed in me, supported me through these years. Without you, I obviously couldn't have been elected for 2 terms. It is you, the residents, who I want to apologize for not being able to complete my term. I am forever grateful for your support, and I've made a ton of friends that I will cherish forever. So it's with sadness that I will be ending my last officer report tonight. Please always, always remember to keep the military, first responders, and their families in your hearts and prayers. They are the ones keeping us safe out there through all these hard times that we are going through. And just once again, thank you, Mayor Savarino, Trustee McCarthy, Trustee Schwarzy, Trustee Fruzoloni, Trustee Gazer, Trustee LaRocca, Trustee Zalick, staff, management, and all Carroll Stream residents for the honor of allowing me to serve you. I cherish every bit of it and will miss it greatly. And that will in my report. I tried to do it without crying, but I wear my heart on my sleeve, and this is truly hard for me. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Laura, the mayor, all I could say is thank you for all you've done. Thank you for your professionalism. And thank you for the way you're going out and knowing and acknowledging the people that really went forward to help you says a lot about you and commitment. We're going to miss you at all the functions that we do at Carroll Stream. It's not just being the clerk, or like it's not just being on the board. Everybody goes above and beyond, and you've always done that. So God bless you in your new endeavor. We understand. I hate to see you go, but whatever path you take, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
may the rest of us make comments also? I didn't want to make an
Absolutely.
announcement before Laura made her announcement. So would it be okay if the other trustees were able to say a few words to Laura since this is her last meeting?
That's fine.
Okay. Laura, thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done. You have gone well above and beyond what our village clerk normally does. You've become so entrenched in Carroll Stream. You've donated thousands of hours to making this town better. You've gone above and beyond to learn what it's like for our staff to do their job. You've always been open to new ideas. You've always been wonderful about providing new ideas. But most of all, you've always been there standing side by side with us, no matter what we were doing. There was no job that was too small for you not to say, let me jump in and help you. So best of luck to you. Like I told you when you called me and told me about this position, you have to do what's best for you and your family. And we still expect to see you very active in Carroll Stream. That we will always ask of you, to continue to join us and to be part of this community. But the very best of luck and happiness to you.
Laura,
Thank
this is Greg Shorzy. I too didn't want to steal your thunder by making an announcement before you had a chance to speak, but you have just been an outstanding clerk. I can't tell you what a good job and how impressed and how valuable you have been to the village. And obviously I appreciate our friendship more than ever, and I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Trustee Geezer here. Laura, thank you very much for all you've done. As a clerk, it's been a pleasure working with you. We've known each other for many years because you're a neighbor of mine, and hopefully that'll continue for many years. And we will miss you, but we know we will see you in the neighborhood and volunteering throughout the community. So thank you, and we love you, Laura.
Thank you.
That being said, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to, it's Trustee Zalek. I didn't think I was stealing her thunder, but I felt the need to recognize her in my report. So, Laura, thank you very much for the years of hard work and commitment to the board. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Trustee Zalek.
Trustee LaRocca, Laura, thank you so much for everything you've done for the village of Carroll Stream. Thank you for all your efforts that in all of the functions that we've undertaken in this village, and you have been a spark in many areas of all the functions that go on in Carroll Stream. You are just one of the best. I've enjoyed working with you, and I enjoyed your friendship. Thank you so much. And as my father would always say, God bless you and think happy thoughts. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, we go to Mr. Rose, our village attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I only have one item tonight, and that is to offer my best wishes to Laura Laura, you know, your commitment to the office of the village clerk has really been truly commendable and greatly appreciated. It was a pleasure to work with you, and I certainly wish you well in the future. So thanks very much again, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Village Manager, Mr. Meller.
Thank you, Mayor Savarino. I too thank you, Laura, for your many years of service. As you know, or as you found out as an elected official, it becomes part of your lifestyle. It becomes all-encompassing because you live in the town. You can't go anywhere without somebody recognizing you, asking you information about the village and its policies. And you know, you go to church, you go to the shopping center. As with all the trustees, you know, it's a vocation, I guess. So thank you for all your years of service and all your volunteer work. You know, you're always at the town center concerts. You're helping out with the bags tournaments. Just a lot of, you know, you're at the food drives. You know, the list goes on and on. So your presence will be missed, but I know you'll still be out there. So good luck in your future job. I know you'll do great. Hopefully everything works out well for you.
Thank you.
Welcome. On behalf of the village administration and all the employees of the village, thank you to all of the current and former residents and students of Carroll Stream that provided comments, concerns, and input regarding local government and police services in response to protests and demonstrations on racism and unfair treatment. A lot of this was sparked by incidents that were going on around the country. Fortunately, not in Carroll Stream. We do support all of our culturally diverse community members, which I think we have shown through our practices over the years, such as the Christmas sharing program, food and coat drives, active participants in the Martin Luther King celebrations at Wheaton Christian Center, hosting a national night out against crime at the community park, and many more. All of these programs serve our culturally diverse community. And I always believe that our actions speak louder than words and are more indicative of our culture in Carroll Stream. You know, some comments were made about, you know, us being definitely silenced and having blatant disregard for the current climate we are living in. I don't believe that, that we have all failed to do the job we signed up for. You know, I completely disagree with that. And we can agree to disagree, but I don't believe any of these statements were based on that. That we have personally and systematically failed our minority members, such as our Black residents. And I contend that there are efforts to demean be tolerated. Furthermore, we encourage anyone who feels they were unjustly treated to contact village administration. You can contact me to apprise me of these incidents. Over the years, I haven't been contacted, so I guess I assume that they weren't occurring, but if there are any incidents out there, please contact me. Carroll Stream is fortunate that we have not had these types of issues seen in other parts of Illinois and the country. And we recruit and train our employees to prevent these types of incidents from occurring in Carroll Stream. So again, thank you for all the comments. Some of the questions that we were asked, in particular, one of the attendees tonight, Devin Asperger, had requested some information on our policies and the racial makeup of arrests in Carroll Stream. And we're gathering that information, and we should have that to you shortly. There's been a lot of discussion on body cams. Carroll Stream had been including that in future budgets over the years. Unfortunately, the costs were prohibitive. We had limited funds. We will take a stronger look at that moving forward. We're looking to see if we can get grants or petition our legislators from the state and federal government to see if they have any funding for it. This will probably be an opportune time for them to provide that funding, since there are many requests in many municipalities throughout the state and country that are asking for these funds. As far as the online policy manual, we're very much looking at putting that online so that people don't have to do FOIAs. And again, we've never been asked for that information. This is really the first time we have been. So now that we know that there's an interest in that, we're certainly going to look at doing that. So today, the Municipal Center opened with slightly modified hours. As many of you knew that we were closed due to COVID-19 for the past month and a half or so. The hours for the public are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. with police records operating 24/7. Our outdoor drop box and forms will remain outside to accommodate individuals who wish to do business with the village remotely. If people still feel uncomfortable about coming indoors, that's another option for them. And it actually worked quite well during our shutdown. No restrictions on the number of individuals in the Municipal Center to conduct routine business. Floor decals are in place to provide appropriate spacing between guests. Hand sanitation stations are located on each floor and at service counters for customer use. Police will be doing fingerprinting for liquor and massage licenses. Public meetings, such as adjudication, plan commission, or village board meetings, will not be permitted in accordance with the governor's Illinois recovery plan. So once the governor opens things up for crowds 50 and over, or 50 and under, we will start having meetings back here at the Municipal Center. And just a reminder that masks are required to be worn by all guests. Signage has been placed at public entrances reminding customers that face coverings are required and to maintain physical distancing. The following services will begin once Carroll Stream enters phase 4, subject to the governor's orders. Solicitor's permits, which are currently not allowed. Block parties, automated meter reading program, where we install the automated meters in homes. And then during phase 4, we'll return to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., our normal business hours for the village side. Use of meeting space for on-site training and board meetings will be permitted subject to my office's approval and the governor's order and restrictions on group gatherings. And then as a final note, since we are now open, there are 2 PC workstations located on the 2nd floor of the Municipal Center to allow residents to complete the census online. So if you haven't completed the census because you don't have online internet access, we have access here that you can use. They're 2 nice Apple computers. So we encourage anybody that hasn't completed the census to please come on in and do that, since it means additional funding for Carroll Stream, including body cams. So please do that. And that's the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. You covered probably 90% of what I wanted to talk about. That's good. By not being face-to-face, you took a lot off of me. I'd like to thank the residents that sent the requests in for more information. And I think I understand where you are coming from. I have a lot to look at myself. Homophobic, racist. I've never been called those things before. At my age and the things that I've accomplished, and to be put in the category of being a racist when some of my best friends are African American, Hispanic, Puerto Rican. I mean, I'm really confused there. If they were really talking about me or if they were talking about somebody else. Because to me, it's very hurtful to do what I do for the people that I do things for. It's never based on race, color, creed. It's based purely on need. And any church in this town, from Wheaton Christian to Village Bible, could tell you that I am right there when they need me. I'm really confused here because of the way people feel about me. I'm not even sure what some of the things that they said mean. I almost feel like, I hate to say this, I feel like Donald Trump. I don't even tweet. No matter what I put on Facebook is misinterpreted by 3 or 4 people. 200 or 300 people could all say, that was great, and 2 or 3 people completely misread anything that I said. So when I said I'm going to take a sabbatical from posting anything, I don't mean from the village. I'm never going to quit running the village until my term's up. But I will quit putting stuff on Facebook because I think that there's certain people that no matter what is said, the definition that they put in there and their feeling is going to be different than what I said. And Facebook is hard to try and straighten that out. I'm looking forward, to be honest with you, going back to live meetings in our boardroom where you can take the podium, you can ask me a question or accuse me of something, but then you better have you better have everything to back that up. Because I know me and I know how I am, and everybody in this town knows how I am. I'm hurt. I feel distrusted. I can't even put it into words the way I feel because I have never, ever been treated that way by anybody. I don't know where they're coming from, the same 2 or 3 people, but to me, it's like, I don't want to start calling out names and start asking questions back to why you feel that way unless I could look face to face with you. I would like you to set up a meeting with our village manager and meet face to face with me and explain to me where you get that I would be a racist or a homophobic or whatever LGBT. I have friends that are, I don't care what you are. It doesn't matter. I don't care what color you are. It doesn't matter. I love everybody. That was from my early days as a child. I mentioned church and they put, you should worry about something else before, don't put mixed church and government. I mean, everybody else could do what they want to do, but we can't do what we want to do, and it's not fair. I can't say anything. No matter what I say, it's completely wrong all the time to certain people. And other people seem to think it's pretty good. And if they're just lying to me and think it's good, then shame on them. So with that, I'm going to end my report. I want to thank everybody again for sending in your information. We could be a better town. Maybe that's possible, but I live here because of the town. And a lot of us can live wherever we want, and we pick and stay in Carroll Stream because we love this community. I love the people in this community. I wouldn't want to live anyplace else. I think that we got shortchanged on this whole thing that happened in Minneapolis. And I think everybody put us all in the same thing, same category. I love our police department. I think they're well-trained. They are well-disciplined. They stand by their convictions. To be picked from someone to check on the whatever they said about the drugs, THC. I mean, it's like it is an honor because they respect our police department so much of what we've done with DUIs and everything and enforcement that they would ask us to do that. Maybe somebody should go ask Mothers Against Drunk Drivers how good our police department is and how many drunks that they've got off the street that might have killed somebody's family in Carroll Stream. I'm gonna have to get off my soapbox, but I'd like to meet face to face with anybody that wants to challenge me on my actions, and then you'll really find out what I'm about because you pegged me the wrong way. And that was a terrible mistake because that's not what you see with me is what you get. And if I gave you that impression that I'm a bigot or a homophobic or a racist, I don't know how that possibly could have happened. So with that, motion to adjourn.
So move, Trustee McCarthy.
Seconded, Trustee Geezer.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting's adjourned.